At some point, these two are going to meet in the middle, hopefully over the summer, and you're going to see some positive progress on all these issues, particularly on the economy. Just to dispute you on immigration, he has fixed immigration. The southern border is effectively closed. We have virtually no crossings going on right now. It's fixed. I don't even know why they need a wall now. Nobody wants to come here because
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bite Feed, where we break down the media chaos so you don't have to. And tonight's episode, a real standout. Scott Jennings and KevinO'Leary, yes, that KevinO'Leary, were on CNN's Newsnight with Phillip, and honestly, it felt like watching two experts walk into a class full of kids. They brought facts and logic, while the rest brought crayons. Right from the start, it was obvious. Most of the panel, especially the host Phillip, didn't want a real discussion. They weren't there to talk about real issues or search for the truth. Their goal? Push a message that says Donald Trump's trade plan is already a failure, even though he's barely been in office 100 days. And this bias wasn't hidden. It was clear and full of attitude. But Scott and Kevin didn't hold back. They didn't just offend Trump. They exposed weak arguments, challenged the over-the-top reactions, and brought in solid facts and data to shut it down. They responded calmly, with real information, not emotions or drama. Every sarcastic remark or loaded question got answered with clear logic. Now look, I know I'm supposed to stay serious, but between the way Scott and Kevin shut things down and my own messy hair flopping around in the background, I couldn't help but laugh. Still, I really want you to watch this clip carefully, because what you're about to see isn't just a talk show. It's what happens when media spin runs into the truth. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch Scott and Kevin tear apart the false story CNN tried to push. This is Bite Feed, and this is how you fight back with facts. Let's go.
Is it 200? Is it 70? Is it 76? Like, where are we?
Why don't we just pick one situation, focus on that, because the narrative around trade is about justifying tariffs in either direction. Let's just take India, which we know the narrative is going on. They charge 110% tariffs on completely constructed cars going in from America to India. They're saying, let's drop that. Let's go to zero. If that gets achieved, it's just one country, that's a huge win for the United States of America.
IF is doing a lot of work there. And I also would say that's a lot of words that doesn't
yes
answer
or no,
my question.
yes or no.
How many deals, Kevin? I mean, I think that this is really important because he's giving himself 90 days, right? And we're a few weeks into this now. And there has not been, not even a one deal, not even a one deal in principle announced. So realistically, if it's as simple as that with India, why not paper it tomorrow?
So there's actually 17 deals that matter. Think about this. A lot of these countries, important to talk about, they don't matter. EU, Britain, which is not part of the EU, Switzerland, okay, Canada, Mexico, India, that's 72% of the pie. I don't care about the rest. I care about Thailand because I have a business there. I got it. But I don't care about the rest because these matter. And then there's the China stack. You got the China stack? That's not just trade. That's theft of IP and all kinds of problems with the World Trade Organization. I love the fact that we're talking about China. Not the same. But frankly, if he just gets that small stack, that's 72%. Why don't you say, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, that's good.
Doesn't it matter that he keeps claiming that there are deals, that there's progress, that there are talks, and a lot of the parties involved are saying, I don't know about that.
Doesn't matter.
Why doesn't that matter? That he's not telling the truth.
I think the problem is there's no stack. And look, Trump's playbook is when things aren't going his way, he deflects. And here's the reality of the situation. He said he was going to fix the economy. He has a 37% approval rating on the economy. He said he was going to end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. The war is still going. He said that he was going to fix immigration. His approval rating is underwater. He says that he's going to fix tariffs and have great tariffs. He's got a 34% approval rating on this. So this is just his way of distracting from the truth, which is everything that he fought for. That was his greatest strengths, frankly, during the election, are now becoming his greatest weaknesses.
How much longer, Scott, does Trump have to say a lot of words but not produce any results?
Well, I mean, he's not running again. I mean,
particularly on the economy.
And so he has a whole presidency to create results. But look, I think over the next few months, he has got to do his part on the trade deals and the things he can do, and the Republicans in Congress have to do their part on making the tax cuts permanent, energy policy, on the reconciliation bill, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, these two are going to meet in the middle, hopefully over the summer, and you're going to see some positive progress on all these issues, particularly on the economy. Just to dispute you on immigration, he has fixed immigration. The southern border is effectively closed. We have virtually no crossings going on right now. It's fixed. I don't even know why they need a wall now. Nobody wants to come here because they know if you come here, you're going to get thrown out by the Trump administration. So that particular issue is, in my opinion, fixed and well on the way to being fixed forever. But these other issues, he does have some balls in the air, but I think there's a strong possibility they're going to land correctly.
I would say the American people disagree with
71%.
You think they think it's better today or under Biden?
71. We got some answers, okay?
And just to answer your previous question, because that wasn't answered either, is there are no deals. He hasn't cut a deal. Trump is the first person, if there is a deal, to come out and yell to everybody that he has struck a deal. This is the way that he works. This is what he does. And so I don't think that there are any deals. I think he's bluffing. I do think on the economy, if I were a Republican in Congress, I'd be worried. Once the American people start feeling this, once there are, the shelves are not stocked, all of these issues, that hurts the Republican Party. They control everything. They can't blame Joe Biden for the tariffs. They can't blame Democrats for unstocked shelves. That's directly to the Republican Party. And heading into the midterm elections, they don't have, it seems like a long time, but they don't have a long time because Trump believes that he has about a year or so until this is somewhat resolved. And a year or so gives you 6 months until the midterm elections, and American people should be worried.
I agree with you. The Republicans are in charge, and the American people are going to expect results. But I think what they are going to do, particularly on the issues of making the tax cuts permanent and some of the other changes they're going to make, they're going to help millions of Americans on the tax front, are going to be far more popular than what the Democrats are going to be running on in the midterm. So the opportunity exists to get that right. The midterms are not until next November. So there is some space here for Trump's plan to work and for the Republicans in Congress.
Honestly, I don't care at all what Abby Phillip thinks about Donald Trump. Her opinion, and the entire panel she was with, is about as helpful as a screen door on a submarine. Once again, Scott Jennings and KevinO'Leary stayed calm and confidently took apart every one of their pre-written talking points. Let's be real. The U.S. border is more secure now than it has been in years. And that's not a political statement. It's just a fact. And Trump's terror strategy, it's not only working, it's making big countries like China, India, and the EU nervous. He walked into office and flipped the global trade game upside down. And now those countries are being forced to renegotiate. But here's what I really want: actual progress. I want to see real deals, official announcements, not just talk. Why? Because until everyday Americans see changes in their wallets, full shelves in stores and lower prices, it's all just talk. And maybe, just maybe, it'll get CNN to stop complaining for 5 minutes. Though I doubt it, but hey, a guy can dream. Now don't get me wrong, I know it won't be easy. There are still challenges, delays, and even people inside the U.S. government trying to block every step Trump takes. Judges are making it harder. Insiders are leaking info. And the media is twisting every story like a washing machine on full spin. To my fellow conservatives, if you're frustrated, that's totally fair. But don't lose hope. We have about a year and a half before the next big elections, the midterms. That's our chance. If the economy doesn't start moving and people don't feel real change, we might lose the House of Representatives. And if that happens, Trump won't just be blocked. He'll be powerless in his own government. Just imagine trying to make deals while half of Congress wants him to fail. Imagine trying to fix immigration when even deporting dangerous criminals causes national outrage. That's the kind of political mess we're in right now. So yes, I'm praying not just for Trump, but for his whole team. Because if they don't start winning big soon, the damage won't just be political. It'll affect the next generation too. Stay hopeful, stay smart, and most of all, speak up. Now, back to the video.
So one of the big questions they're facing is what happens for the millionaires on the tax front. Trump actually, it sounds like, has been hearing arguments about maybe allowing the taxes to be raised on millionaires. Should he do that?
Never going to happen. You know, the key to success is to maintain the tax code as it stands right now, because you want more capital in the economy, not with the government. And I think that is what he actually got elected on. Because remember, our
That sounds like a
choices
great
were
argument against tariffs.
Remember, the
Kevin.
choices were: let's raise corporate taxes to the highest in 40 years, or keep it under the tax code that Trump brought forward initially. The economy works better with low corporate taxes because more capital comes into the economy, and it has nothing to do with the trade fight at all. Low taxes is what the American dream is all about. That's not so. This narrative about is he going to raise corporate?
I get that.
I guarantee you
but
zero.
I truly do not understand how you can make that statement and square it with a tax, which is what a tariff is, on consumers, which are regular Americans, not to mention the businesses that are also dealing with this. It is a tax too. So
We're
how can
9 weeks
the
into
anti-tax
There's
party
no
then
empty
say,
shelves.
okay,
There's no empty
tariffs
shelves
on everybody,
anywhere.
20%, 30%, 50%, 145%. How are you okay with that when you are opposed to tariffs?
I'm up
when
for,
you are opposed to the
I'm not
government
opposed to
taking
tariffs.
the
I want
money?
400% on China. I've said that countless times. Here's what I want. Think about this. Why,
No, I know you're
why
not,
are
I know
all
you're
these
not opposed
leaders?
to tariffs. I'm saying you're opposed to taxes, and tariffs are taxes.
Taxes are permanent. Tariffs are a negotiating weapon. Why is
Unless you
every
want them to be
every
permanent,
leader
which
of
this
every
president
country in
does.
Europe showing up in Washington every week? They want to cut a deal. You don't like the fact that in 9 weeks we don't have a deal? No administration's ever tried to cut 60 deals at once. All you need to do is pen one. Just pen one, whether it's India or EU or Britain, whatever it is, and that becomes the hallmark of all the rest. That's that stack. And then let's settle with China, because that's a different story. And I love the fact that Xi's getting his head squeezed like a teenage pimple right now. I'm good with that.
I think there's a lot of dispute about that. I think she is basically saying, we're not talking to you right now. But I want to play one other element of what Trump said to Time magazine. He thought was particularly amusing because they're asking for credit for opposing aid to Ukraine, which kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But anyway, neither here nor there.
I think saying that Donald Trump doesn't like getting credit is like saying Kevin O'Leary doesn't like royalty deals. The reality is this is a president who craves off attention and credit for everything that he does. A couple things that weren't mentioned in that segment is that he wanted more credit for John McCain's funeral. He wanted more credit for making Juneteenth famous. There is nothing that this man doesn't want credit
Guys,
for.
has there ever been an American president that didn't want credit
Then
for
why,
everything
then
that
why is he
happened?
denying that he wants credit?
Every single president wants credit for the good things that happen. And a number of good things have happened when he was president the first time and when he's president right now. And he does deserve some credit for it. And he is constantly harangued and I think treated unfairly. And I think some of these issues that we're talking about tonight, whether it's the immigration case or whether it's cutting of the trade deals, he does deserve a little bit of credit for standing up to
I just
China
wonder-
and other issues. And so I think he's got a point.
I just
don't
wonder
think
if
he's getting
there's
some of
ever
the
a
credit he
time when you
deserves.
think Trump is being treated fairly.
Do I think
Is
he's
there?
being? What do you mean?
Like you said, he's constantly being treated unfairly. Is he ever being treated fairly? Can you think of an example?
I mean, I treat him pretty fairly. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
I don't think constant praise counts, Scott. All right, last word.
Well, I mean, I will just say that as someone who says that he doesn't want credit, he is someone who watches television all day, every day, and is constantly any sort of criticism that comes his way. He attacks, whether it's the reporter, he attacks CNN all the time. He attacks everybody. He believes that he is always being treated unfairly, probably more than any other president.
No, every president believes that. Joe Biden believed that. Barack Obama believed that. Every president believes they don't get enough credit and that the press is out to get them. Every
I will say
president
Trump is a
believes
little
that.
different.
Joe Biden never banned journalists as a result of.
Well, they threw 400 hard passes out of the briefing room. Were you part of that decision?
All right, we don't have time to get into all of that. Coming up next for
I don't know if you noticed Abby Phillip's face during that last segment, but she clearly wasn't enjoying it. You could almost see the worry behind her smile. It looked like she was struggling to keep her usual message going, and honestly, it wasn't working. Then someone on the panel actually said that China's leader, Xi Jinping, isn't feeling any pressure from Trump's trade moves. Seriously? Just ask any business owner in China how things are going. Ask about supply chain issues. Ask how tariffs are hurting their profits. Spoiler, she is feeling the pressure, and he knows it. Now, let's talk about the obvious. Yes, Donald Trump likes getting credit. He enjoys recognition and doesn't hide it. But the video CNN played of him wasn't about seeking praise. It was about pointing out the double standards in the media. You could hear in his voice, "You can't even admit the border is more secure under me than it was under Biden." And he's right. The media won't give him credit for anything. He could fix the border, stop a war, boost the economy, and create jobs. And the media would still focus on something petty like his tie or a tweet. Want proof? Just watch how the panel laughed. Actually laughed when Scott Jennings tried to highlight some of Trump's successes. That laugh? That's bias. And they don't even seem to realize how silly they sound. And Abby, since you're a big part of this, maybe it's time to reflect. I've watched Newsnight more than I'd like to admit, and I don't think I've ever heard you say Trump did anything right. That's the real issue. You're focused on who he is, not what he's done. Yes, Trump wants recognition, maybe because he's surrounded by people who refuse to give it to him. But here's something the media never talks about. Trump gives his people a lot of credit. He praises the hardworking people in his administration. He calls them warriors, patriots, and problem solvers. That's leadership, sharing the spotlight with others who earn it. No, Trump isn't perfect. He's bold, blunt, and sometimes too much. But unlike the smug and sarcastic media panels, he respects results, and he gives credit where it's due. The real question is, will the media ever do the same? Didn't think so. What do you think about the panel or what I said? Drop a comment below.